Welcome His Excellency Ratu Williame Mai Valili Katonivere, President of the Republic of Fiji. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. May peace be upon us. Shalom, Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, Salam Kebajikan. Good afternoon, our distinguished guests. Welcome to the Roundtable discussion on the occasion of the launch of the G20 Bali Global Blended Finance Alliance, GBFA, for Global South Collaboration. My name is Shobi Lawalata, and it is an honor for me to be the host of today's event. It is an honor for us to introduce and welcome our distinguished guests of honor for this afternoon, His Excellency Luhut Binsar Panjaitan, Coordinating Minister for Maritime Affairs and Investment of the Republic of Indonesia. His Excellency Ratu Williame Mai Valili Katonivere, President of the Republic of Fiji. Esteemed government ministers and ambassadors, distinguished dignitaries and prospective founding members of the G20 Bali GBFA, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. The G20 Bali Global Blended Finance Alliance was adopted by the G20 leaders at the G20 Summit in Bali, November 2022, to bridge the gap in financing for climate change actions and achieving the SDGs. Today's roundtable discussion aims to explore ways and means to enrich and solidify the GBFA initiative and its future endeavors. We welcome your insights and inputs from the participants to develop the G20 principles on blended finance. We will begin with a video presentation on the G20 Bali GBFA.
The world is at a crossroads. The urgency of addressing climate change and achieving the Sustainable Development Goals is evident. While governments, organizations and communities strive to make an impact, the scale of financing required to drive substantive change is vast. This is where the G20 Bali Global Blended Finance Alliance, GBFA, emerges as a beacon of hope. It is a note of pride and validation to highlight that both the G20 principle of blended finance and the establishment of the G20 Bali Global Blended Finance Alliance were unanimously acknowledged in the G20 Bali Leaders' Declaration. When future generations look back, they will remember the leaders and nations who stood tall during this pivotal period and worked together towards achieving a brighter, more sustainable world.
To commence today's roundtable, please join me in welcoming His Excellency Luhut Binsar Panjaitan, Coordinating Minister for Maritime Affairs and Investment of the Republic of Indonesia, to deliver the welcoming remarks. Your Excellency, the floor is yours.
William Mafaila, President of the Republic of Fiji, Barbara Pompili, Special Envoy, the French President, French, Mr. Suhail Mohammed Al-Mazuri, Minister of Energy and Infrastructure UAE, Mr. Jivan Tondaman, Minister of Water, Supply and State Infrastructure Development, Sri Lanka, Ms. Ivi Bazaiba Masudi, Minister of Environment and Sustainable Development, DRC, Mr. Jahariah Nejru, Cabinet Secretary for Sanitation and Irrigation of Kenya, Mr. Juma Hamidu Aweso, Minister of Water and Irrigation, Tanzania. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Thank you for contribution to the 10th World Water Forum. In the midst of climate change and the growth of population, water issue is become more important because of its relation to basic needs of our people, such as water and food security, disaster risk reduction, and sustainable water finance. Indonesia has emerged as a pioneer of collaboration and fostering partnership across diverse platforms, such as the G20, ASEAN, the Archipelagic Island State Forum, and many international fora. I have expressed my highest appreciation to President Jokowi for the such of the G20 2022 and deliverables in the G20 Bali Leaders Declaration, particularly to Indonesian initiative on the G20 Bali Global Blended Finance Alliance, or short, the GBFA. Indonesia's steadfast commitment to championing blended finance within the G20 process reflects our shared vision of the world where prosperity is accessible to all. The GBF will mobilize blended finance, a strategic tool to bridge the financing gap for the climate and SDG goals by effectively developing, replicating, and helping implement blended finance projects through robust multi-stakeholders collaboration, a country-led approach, South-South collaboration. Furthermore, GBF will facilitate G20 participation, principles on blended finance and country-led policy development that should prioritize our needs, establish key partnership, enable institutional and financing solutions for the transition of sustainable economy. As we convene today, the government of Indonesia will officially launch the Secretariat of GBFA, which is located in Sanur Special Economic Zone. Yesterday, Trihita Karana Forum already hosted the World Economic Forum on G20. We will visit the office tomorrow and we'll see the very beautiful office and also beautiful environment over there. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to extend my heartfelt appreciation to all of the country members, Canada, Democratic Republic of Congo, Fiji, France, Kenya, Luxembourg, Sri Lanka, UAE, here today joining as a prospective founding members. We invite countries to be inclusively lay out the roadmap toward international organization and concrete cooperation. As we look ahead to the upcoming G20 Rio de Janeiro Summit and COP28 in Azerbaijan, let's continue to harness the power of collaboration, innovation, and partnership to unlock new pathways for prosperity through the development of the GBFA for generations to come. Together, we can build a brighter, more sustainable future for all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Excellency, for your warm welcome. We are also honored to have remarks from His Excellency Ratu Williame Maivalili Katonivere, President of the Republic of Fiji. Excellency, the floor is yours.
Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, it is inspiring to hear that we all share the same goal of making the establishment of the Global Blended Finance Alliance delivers concrete outcomes and gives benefit to our people. Blended finance can be a powerful mechanism to respond to global challenges that impact funding flows, and the alliance principles of equality, trust, mutual respect, and mutual benefits sets the stage for a comprehensive cooperative partnership. The launching of the establishment of the G20 Bali Global Blended Finance Alliance is a significant step towards strengthening our public-private partnership. Transparency, targeting social and environmental goals, and working towards healthy societies are all critical elements of achieving the SDGs. By establishing the Global Blended Finance Alliance, we can bridge the divide that separates the public and private sectors and work together towards a healthy economy and environment. This is not only important for countries like Fiji, but for all of us who rely on the beauty of nature and a healthy environment. But at the same time, have issues related to outdated infrastructure like water and sanitations unfit for growing demand. Let us seize this opportunity to work together towards a shared vision and make this alliance an effective platform for economic multilateral cooperation that delivers tangible and lasting benefits to our people. Excellencies, honorable ministers, ladies and gentlemen, I am honored to express my confidence in the Global Finance Alliance that will effectively complement the work of the South-South collaboration. This strategic partnership between the South and North, Western and Eastern, developed and developing countries through this alliance will contribute to global economic transformation. I am optimistic that this partnership will advance mutual interests and create a better future for all. This partnership and alliance are forward-looking, concerned not only with the challenges of the present, but also preparing for the opportunities of the future. This requires leadership, vision, and strategic partnership, along with dedication to building the capabilities of our people and a resolute commitment to the cause of development and progress. I am confident that our endeavor will succeed. Terima kasih banyak. Thank you and winawaliw. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency, for your insightful remarks and warm support to the GBFA. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we will now proceed to the signing of the letter of intent for the G20 Bali GBFA. For this important occasion, allow me to invite the esteemed dignitaries to join us at the signing table, initiated by His Excellency Luhut Binsar Panjaitan, Coordinating Minister for Maritime Affairs and Investment of Indonesia, Her Excellency Barbara Pompili, Special Envoy of the President of the French Republic for the One Water Summit, His Excellency Jivan Tondaman, Minister of Water Supply and Estate Infrastructure of Sri Lanka, His Excellency Suhail Mohammad Al-Mazrui, Minister of Energy and Infrastructure, United Arab Emirates, Her Excellency Ivi Bazaiba Masudi, Minister of Environment and Sustainable Development, Democratic Republic of Congo, His Excellency Zakaria Mwangi Njeru, Minister for Water, Sanitation and Irrigation of Kenya, His Excellency Amena Tave Fakasa Fuaka Yau Foli, Ambassador of Fiji to the Republic of Indonesia, His Excellency Gabriel Augusto Baptista Pereira, Deputy Ambassador of Luxembourg to Indonesia, His Excellency Kevin William Tokar, Counselor and Head of Development Cooperation, Embassy of Canada to Indonesia. And may I also request the presence of His Excellency Ratu Williame Mai Valili Katonifere, President of the Republic of Fiji, to join us to witness the signing ceremony. Your Excellency, if you would be so kind, thank you. May I kindly request photographers to provide some space for formal documentation team to be able to also document the process. Thank you. We will begin the signing process shortly. Once you are ready, I invite our esteemed dignitaries to commence the signing process, first by signing on the documents that have been arranged on the table. And I request the assistance of the team to gather the document to be signed by Coordinating Minister Luhut and returned to the respective signees afterwards. This is a historic moment for all of us. It's a milestone in Global South cooperation to commence blended finance for sustainable development goals, especially in the South developing countries. We thank you for your support and in marking this momentous celebration. While we wait, allow me to share a little bit of information about the unveiling ceremony that will take place tomorrow. The Secretariat of the G20 Bali GBFA will be housed at the Sanur Special Economic Zone, north of the Nusa Dua area where we currently are. And tomorrow we will be organizing a site visit to the Secretariat to witness the unveiling ceremony. There will be transportation provided, so for those of you interested in joining, we will be leaving the Westin Hotel lobby at 3:45 p.m. Bali time tomorrow. And when we are there, we will be greeted by Balinese dance, and the afternoon will end with a small reception poolside in the beauty of Sanur, so please join us. We really thank you, your support and your cooperation for this groundbreaking collaboration of the Global South for championing blended finance. Once again, we thank you for your support. Let's give a big round of applause for the signing of the letter of intent for the founding members of the G20 Bali Global Blended Finance Alliance. If you may be so kind to hold up the letter of intent for our documentation team. Thank you for making your way. This will be a beautiful backdrop to celebrate this momentous occasion. Ladies and gentlemen, we announce the letter of intents for the G20 Bali Global Blended Finance Alliance. Let's give our warm welcome and a round of appreciation and applause. Thank you. Thank you, dignitaries and excellencies. Please kindly remain on the stage. Kindly remain on the stage as we will also have a launch ceremony following the signing of the letter of intent. And we will do so using traditional Indonesian bamboo instrument called the kentongan or kulkul in Bali as we call it. This has always been a noisemaker for the community in Bali and around Indonesia. So please join me in receiving the kentongan and signing it together to make a big sound to the world that this is a momentous voice, a united voice for the Global South, for its own development, for its own sustainable development. As before, we would like to request some space for the formal documentation team to be able to properly capture the moment, I seek the assistance of the organizers to help guide us as to where is a safe place for others to also document the process. Are we ready? Yes? All right, on my count, at 3, 2, 1, kindly make the loudest sound you can together, okay? 3, 2, 1. Go ahead. Thank you. May I also invite now the prospective founding members of the GBFA. If you are not yet on the stage, kindly join us on the stage to be captured in this moment of celebration for a group photo. The prospective founding members of the GBFA. May I also invite His Excellency Vice Minister of Foreign Affairs Pahala Nugraha Mansyuri to also join us on stage. Thank you. Let's keep our applause going. This is a momentous celebration. Yay! Woo! Thank you. We are ready for the group photo. May I count? Is the documentation team ready? Yes? At 3, 2, 1. Maybe one more. 3, 2, 1. Maybe different postures. GBFA. There you go. Thank you. This has to be a happy occasion, right? The Global South coming together. Thank you so much. I now invite the dignitaries to return to your seat. We invite our signees to return to the table as soon as you are ready to celebrate. Thank you, Your Excellency Luhut Binsar Panjaitan, for attending today's signing ceremony and the launch of the Global Blended Finance Alliance, as well as His Excellency Ratu Williame Maivalili Katonivere, President of the Republic of Fiji, for being with us for this momentous occasion. As we make our way to the table, allow me to once again share some information regarding the G20 Bali GBFA Secretariat. Ladies and gentlemen, the Secretariat will be housed at the Sanur Special Economic Zone, north of the Nusa Dua area where we currently are. And tomorrow, we will be organizing a site visit to the Secretariat to witness the unveiling ceremony. There will be transportation provided, and for those of you interested in joining, we will be leaving the Westin Lobby, that is this hotel, Westin Lobby, at 3:45 Bali time tomorrow, May 21st, 2024. We will be greeted by Balinese dances, and the afternoon will end with a small reception poolside, and it will be our pleasure and our honor for you to join us there. Please come. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, for our next sequence of event, we will commence the roundtable discussion very shortly, and I would like to invite you to return to your seat. Thank you, Minister Luhut and His Excellency Ratu Williame Maivalili, for joining us for this important moment in the Global South cooperation. May we invite all of us to return to our seat to commence the roundtable discussion so we can listen from your very important insights on how we can advance the G20 Bali GBFA principles.
Excuse me, I think many of you have other events to go to, so let's just do a very quick roundtable, if I may. I know all of you have other engagements to go to. I would like to, of course, first of all, thank all of you. I would like to join Minister Luhut in giving my our heartfelt appreciation to all the country members, UAE, Fiji, France, Sri Lanka, DRC, Kenya, Luxembourg, and Canada for joining us today as prospective founding members. And I just want to share just very briefly what the next steps will be. We will be following up with each of you and your teams who have signed the LOI for further details. And we will be continuing our efforts to expand support from other prospective members as well as partners. There are some partners here today, such as OECD, and World Bank was not able to come, but they have been partners from the beginning, and some other organizations like UNDP. We will be conducting programs on capacity building and helping to design country-led or sector-wide blended finance platforms, given that countries have very different starting conditions and endowments and capacities. This is the whole value added of the GBFA, as I hope you all can appreciate. There will be 2 roundtables on GBFA coming up, one at the OECD in September in Paris, and one at the COP29. And what we intend to do is do a lot of showcasing of blended finance projects. You know, we want to make this very concrete with South-South cooperation, with some ideas about sectors such as energy transition, with Indonesia, South Africa, and possibly Vietnam, mangroves, forests with DRC, Brazil, and Indonesia. These are just some examples. So that's just a flavor of the next steps. And the intention of this roundtable is to really seek your inputs as to what you would like to see that we would do in the GBFA. And I'd like to invite, first of all, Her Excellency Barbara Pompili, Special Envoy to the French President for the One Water Summit. Barbara, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Special Envoy, for the Global Alliance for Mixed Finance. And dear friends, I'm honored to be with you today for the launch of the Global Alliance for Blended Finance. This alliance will make possible the mobilization of new means of financing for energy transition. The letter of intent signed between France and Indonesia today marks our shared commitments in this regard and our strengthened bilateral cooperation on global issues. I'm all the more honored to be here with you as we are gathered in the context of the World Water Forum. As the President of the French Republic always says, access to water is a factor of interdependence between nations. So too are climate change and the challenges of energy transition. This is why the international community must mobilize to identify new ways of financing these challenges. This mobilization is urgent. We are facing an annual shortfall of $4.2 trillion to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. This shortfall is particularly significant for public investment in water-related sectors, estimated at $6.7 trillion by 2030. While trillions of assets circulate on financial markets, only a tiny fraction is directed towards the needs of emerging and developing economies. The leverage effect of our official development assistance is still below its potential. While blended finance is not a universal solution, it plays a fundamental role in mobilizing critical volumes of private capital for the sectors and countries with the greatest needs. It can also act as a catalyst for innovation and open up new markets where conditions are not conducive to attracting investment. Increasing private capital for the development and transition of emerging and developing economies, including through blended finance, is at the heart of the Paris Pact for the People and the Planet, known as the 4P, launched in June 2023 in France. Already joined by 53 countries, including Indonesia, the pact aims to bring together all stakeholders to collectively design a reform of the financial architecture that will enable each country to adopt a transition path tailored to its needs. The objectives of the 4P and the Global Alliance for Blended Finance are therefore fully aligned. The mobilization of financing will also be a driving theme of the One Water Summit that France will be co-organizing with Kazakhstan. The summit should make it possible to identify new solutions for better management of our water resources, the positive externalities of which are felt across all the SDGs from health to food security. I would like to conclude by emphasizing that beyond financial engineering, the challenge of mixed finance is first and foremost one of convergence. Convergence between the various financial players, on the one hand, to ensure that sources of funding are optimally channeled to where they will have the greatest impact. Convergence between the partner countries, on the other hand, to support the less mature markets in deploying the pilot transactions, capacities, and commercial and institutional environment needed to attract financing. These ideas are firmly anchored in the G20 principles on blended finance, which guide the action of the Alliance, which France is pleased to join today. Their implementation, particularly through South-South and triangular cooperation, will play an important role in this global dynamic of convergence to unlock the financing needed for the sustainable future of people and the planet. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Barbara, for emphasizing and reminding us that about the G20 blended finance principles and the importance of convergence between partners and between all different resources together to service different needs to come together. Thank you so much. May I now invite His Excellency Zakaria Wangi Nyeru, Minister of Water, Sanitation and Irrigation from Kenya.
Thank you. I'm here on behalf of Zakaria Njeru. He's held in another meeting, but I'm his principal deputy, so I'll make the statement on his behalf. Kenya's long-term development blueprint Vision 2030 aims to transform Kenya into an industrialized middle-income country, offering a high quality of life for its citizens. Under the macro and foundation of the Vision 2030, the projected developments and overall economic growth will increase demand on Kenya's energy supply. Kenya must therefore generate more energy and increased efficiency in energy consumption. Towards this, new sources of energy will be found through exploitation of geothermal power, among others. In addition, Kenya, being a leading advocate in responding to climate change, emerging issues on a journey to transform for more renewable energy to mitigate against the greenhouse emissions. In this regard, Kenya has developed a green energy strategy in expanding its generation with an emphasis on renewable sources such as geothermal, hydro, wind, and solar. This creates a critical role in moving Kenya towards a green economy trajectory. Geothermal Development Agency, which is a government state-owned company, is projected to contribute to the development of renewable energy in the country through the development of 1,065 megawatts of renewable energy sources by 2030. The journey towards geothermal power production began in Kenya in 1956 with exploration. However, the first real production of power through geothermal was realized in 1985. This has consistently been increasing, and Kenya is now the sixth best country in terms of total geothermal production at about 1,000 megawatts installed capacity, produces 30% of the total installed capacity in the country. In achieving this milestone, the country has experienced challenges, including high upfront costs for greenfields, inaccessibility of most of these areas because they're in very remote places, lack of technology and accessibility to finance. Kenya is endowed with an abundant geothermal resources with an estimated potential of about 10,000 megawatts. In addition, there exists potential for alternative uses of geothermal sources to spur economic transformation. All this presents a unique opportunity for investments by the private sector to generate green energy to spur economic growth and sustainability. And also this presents an opportunity for private sector to use their carbon credits to be able to achieve this. To exploit this potential, Kenya seeks to unlocking finance for the sector through blended financing instruments that will include a mix of government-owned funding, grants from friendly nations, climate financing, private capital through PPP models, and commercial loans. Indeed, Kenya is in discussions with Pertamina Geothermal Energy, a subsidiary of Indonesia's state-owned energy company, Pertamina, and on investment in geothermal power projects in the country. Kenya will certainly gain a lot from this partnership since Indonesia plays a big role in today's geothermal power production, being the second biggest geothermal producer globally. It is evident that through blended finance, countries in the global south will access affordable finance to close the funding gap required to invest in green infrastructure, including water, sanitation, and irrigation investments for sustainable economic development as well as for the well-being of its citizenry. Noting that the G20 Bali Global Blended Finance Alliance, GBFA, strategies engage comprehensive policy design, accelerate South-South cooperation, prioritize knowledge and capacity building, and facilitate private sector engagement. Kenya fully supports the launch of GBFA Secretariat here in Bali, for these strategies are fully aligned with the nation's aspirations. Further to this, Kenya also is desirous to host the Global South Office for GBFA in Nairobi to enhance coverage and access to the developing nations in the Global South. Thank you.
Thank you very much for sharing your renewable energy experience. And as you mentioned, there's already a concrete example of South-South cooperation with Pertamina, our Pertamina's investment in Kenya on geothermal. Thank you so much. Let me now invite His Excellency Jivan Thondaman, Minister of Water Supply and Estate Infrastructure Development from Sri Lanka.
Excellencies, distinguished guests, forgive my informal address, but I think a lot of practical submissions need to be made in this platform, and that's why we're here as a collective. And speaking from personal experience, I had taken over as Minister of Water Supply and Estate Infrastructure in January 2023. And Sri Lanka, as all of you are aware, went through an unprecedented economic crisis. And because of this economic crisis, the people who suffered were mostly belonging to the rural and the estate community. And one of the biggest issues that I had to face is I was tasked with the job of providing or expanding the services of water connections, but without any financing whatsoever. As all of you are aware, when the treasury is depleted, it is difficult to push forward in terms of expansion. And though we did face pressure, though we did face a lot of opposition, we set the water sector on a path of reform, and we were able to more or less increase the credibility of the institution. And apart from that, we were also able to look at where we went wrong. And where we went wrong was the financial policies that had run the sector. And apart from that, there was also the issue of unsustainability. And though globally we were being advised to achieve SDG 6, it is not possible to achieve SDG 6 if we do not have the instruments for it. And right now we have made a remarkable recovery, a recovery that not many people expected. However, with the water sector, nearly 30 projects had been stalled due to the economic crisis. And all these 30 projects are projects which cater to the rural community, to people who needed water. Though we are providing the population of Sri Lanka close to 60.4% with pipe-borne drinking water, reality of the matter is the rural community did not have water, and neither did they have quality drinking water. The policies that were being followed was urban sector was being given water first, but the source of the water was from the rural sector. Unfortunately, the rural community did not have any water. And right now, with the reforms that we have undertaken, we have come up with the public-private partnership guidelines. We have come up with the water tariff guidelines. And I think it is during my time, after nearly a decade, we had increased the tariff on water. I think everyone sitting in this table would agree that globally speaking, water is heavily subsidized and it's undervalued, hence the unsustainability, which is why this alliance is of importance and is the need of the hour. I am the youngest minister in the history of Sri Lanka. And being the youngest minister in the history of Sri Lanka, this is of very big importance to me because I think the era of conceptualizing, policy making, and talking is enough. And the era of action has come to play. With the era of action coming into play, I'm confident with the Blended Financing Alliance, we would be able to not just resume our projects, but also push forward in providing sustainability to the water sector. And one aspect of blended financing, which needs to be spoken about, is that blended financing not only ensures collective responsibility of the public and private sector, but it also assures transparency, accountability, and efficiency of the government sector. And that is something that has been amiss all this while. I think one thing that we must all acknowledge and admit is the fact that with the water sector, regardless of which country, I think many of us here are politicians, we would have noticed that regardless of whichever country, we have always taken a populist ideology which has led the water sector towards an unsustainable path. However, with a shift in dynamic with this alliance, I'm fairly confident that collectively we will be able to forge forward. Lastly, I would also like to say that as far as the government of Sri Lanka is concerned, right now the reforms that have been taking place in the water sector are reforms which have not been done in half a century. And with relation to one more thing that we do have in the pipeline, very soon we will be discussing with our parliament as well on bringing legislation on energy transformation. We are focusing on renewable energy, and in fact, we were pleased to have a discussion with the Minister of Maritime Investment, where we had even spoken about the possibilities of seaweed into biogas. And these are areas of cooperation where the Global South Initiative would really help developing countries such as us. And through this, I genuinely believe we will not only be able to achieve SDG 6, but we will be able to go beyond. Let me once again thank the government of Indonesia and all other esteemed guests and partners here. And hopefully we'll be able to meet again with more productive times. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I think we all totally agree with the idea of sharing experiences and pushing forward action, as you said. So thank you so much. Let me now call on His Excellency John Rosso, Deputy Prime Minister of Papua New Guinea.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, first of all, let me congratulate all signatories on the great event of the signing of the letter of intent today. It is a step in the right direction. Let me, representing the government and people of my country, Papua New Guinea, pledge our support to the aims of the G20 Bali Global Blended Finance Alliance in advocating for knowledge sharing and easing systematic barriers in accessing capital for climate mitigation goals. Aligning with the 10th World Water Forum theme, Water for Shared Prosperity, GBFA members do indeed have a shared responsibility to develop convenient mechanisms that enable smooth access for financial assistance for climate mitigation measures for the prosperity of our future generations. This remains our biggest hurdle. In the Pacific, the collective Pacific Blues and green economy provides the greatest possibilities of carbon sink and provides important opportunities for our global communities. We take our obligations seriously and have taken strong and practical action to update our climate management laws and regulations. And over the last 5 years, we have reduced national forest emissions by more than 50%. This is underpinned by a comprehensive implementation plan. We continue to call for an urgent global focus on conservation, preservation, and sustainability of our global forests, because we recognize the important role that a forest plays in helping achieve climate stability. They are the lungs of our Earth, providing much needed oxygen, which demands us to act swiftly. In all that we do, we must always be mindful for the wellness of our environment through workable conservation management for PNG and the Pacific Island nations and the globe as a whole. We are adversely affected by global warming through extreme climate variation. Our pleas at previous COP meetings, which I share with a lot of Pacific Island nations, have not really been heard by the industrial societies who are the cause of this global phenomenon. In Papua New Guinea, we host the third largest rainforest, and we have been told not to cut our trees in the name of preservation by the very countries who have deforested their lands during the Industrial Revolution. The question is, why should we be told not to cut our trees for development, to support a national budget? What options are there available? Today, the signing of this very important document gives me hope. Gives me hope for all our Pacific Island nations and other countries too. Year in, year out, huge financial pledges are announced as global climate funds at COP meetings, but not too many filters down for resilience, adaptation, and mitigation efforts and loss and damage for many, many countries, especially island nations that suffer the most with very little output from environment. Our meetings here in Bali must therefore deliver concrete outcomes for developing countries like Papua New Guinea and many other smaller island nations to access these global climate funds, setting pathways, including for a common development aspirations and challenges. Whilst we are asked not to cut down our forests so the whole world can breathe, what options are there available so that we can be able to conserve our forests so the rest of the world, including ourselves, can breathe? In recent years, my government has collaborated with a number of our bilateral partners and international agencies to advance our climate change mitigation and investment policies and to deliver on our development goals. But there is signs of hope. In July 2023, French President Emmanuel Macron and our Prime Minister, Honorable James Marape, witnessed the signing of 2 bilateral agreements to support Papua New Guinea for the implementation of a forest climate change and biodiversity program and green investments under the European approach, the Global Gateway Strategy. This strategy facilitates for EU funding and expertise from the French International Technical Cooperation Agency to implement the said program. This aligns with PNG's goal to ensure its natural resources are effectively managed and transition to a green carbon-neutral economy. That is what we want. Under this arrangement, Papua New Guinea stands to benefit US $100 million from the French package dedicated to preserving nature and forests and mitigating climate change. I say thank you to President Macron. Also last month, Singapore's High Commissioner to Papua New Guinea extended an invitation to Papua New Guinea to utilize its carbon trading platform, the largest in the Asia region, and offered to train Papua New Guinea intellectuals to better understand Singapore's carbon credit program. Singapore is striving to establish a quality framework and workable mechanisms for countries in the region to exchange carbon credits. I also congratulate Singapore, a step in the right direction. PNG and Australia continue to work in collaboration to address climate change through the PNG-Australia Climate Change Action Plan, agreed in 2018. Australia's climate mitigation strategy focuses on funding climate change and resilience programs in PNG communities and providing climate change mitigation training and technical advice. Under this arrangement, Australian $20 million has been allocated for 5 years with annual disbursement of Australian $4 million to support a PNG-led climate financing enabling system that would attract large-scale climate finance and deliver on PNG's international commitments, including addressing national adaptation needs. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, in closing, while financial and technological constraints continue to pose huge challenges, particularly in our efforts to address climate change, we are hopeful that we'll work with our dialogue partners to ease requirements in accessing climate funds in a timely manner. That, in my opinion, is our biggest hurdle. Help us conserve our forests, our natural resources, our carbon sinks, so that the whole world can breathe. Hence, I pledge the support of the government and people of Papua New Guinea to the G20 Bali Global Blended Finance Alliance, a step in the right direction, the blended finance mechanism approach to enable smooth access to financial assistance for climate mitigation measures for the welfare and well-being of our future generations to come. Terima kasih.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency. And your call for small island states is very much heard, and it is part of our GBFA to be also focusing on small island states. So we hear you, and we hope that we can contribute to the financing needs that you highlighted. Now let me turn to Her Excellency Eve Bazaiba Mazudi, Minister of Environment and Sustainable Development from the Democratic Republic of Congo.
Thank you so much, Chairperson. In our side, DRC would like to express how we are so glad at being part of GBFA. Regarding our natural resources we have, I think that we will play a big role to this team. As you mentioned, we need to have a capacity building as well transfer of technology, but also the matter of forest, energy transition, and training to enhance our capacity building. I think that we don't need to have some speech for now. As we sign our agreement, we're supposed to begin the work, and we are so glad to have that, to know that the Secretariat is in Indonesia. But I don't know if it's possible for us to have our delegate in your Secretariat to prepare everything, our needs, because we have so many needs to continue to cooperate, South-South cooperation, but at the same time, we have also the North country, we can work together. They have technology, they have found, but for us in South, we have natural resources. We can work to share our experiences, how to manage those natural resources, to transform those resources to help our population, to bring us to the sustainable development. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your remarks and for your call, how we can cooperate to manage natural resources. As far as I know, bilaterally, I think Indonesia and DRC have been talking about these issues, and we hope to follow up and try to find opportunities for blended finance collaboration. Let me now ask our strategic partner one of our strategic partners from the beginning, OECD, Haye Shute. Would you like to say a few words?
Thank you so much. It's a great honor, great pleasure to be here. The OECD has had the privilege and the honor to be with Indonesia on its leadership, on its way towards leadership on the issue of blended finance. We have been supporting the development of the so-called Trihatha Karana roadmap on blended finance that was launched in 2018 here at the annual meetings of the World Bank and the IMF in Bali. And the Trihatha Karana Forum also then was a platform for partners from the Global North, from the Global South, from the private sector, the public sector, in order to further develop policies and practices on blended finance. And in 2022, under the leadership of the G20 presidency of Indonesia, we were also very, very happy to be an advisor and supporter to Indonesia in developing the G20 blended finance principles. So I think it's only natural that we now see today the creation of the alliance. And just to say, as also the Secretary General of the OECD, Matthias Cormann, yesterday said at the GBFA dialogue, that the OECD stands ready to continue support Indonesia, but also more broadly the signatories of the GBFA in going forward in making blended finance a tool, and a powerful tool in order to unlock additional resources to finance the SDGs. Thank you so much, and I'm really honored to be here today, and obviously we stand ready to further support you going forward. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Haye, and we look forward to getting details about the OECD roundtable in GBFA roundtable in September in Paris. I was told we have a few minutes left before we have to vacate the room, so I just wondered whether the representative from Luxembourg and Canada would like to just say a few words.
Thank you very much, Madam Special Envoy. Indeed, I would like to just share a few remarks on behalf of my Minister of Finance who could not join us here. So first of all, also to quote the Honorable President of Fiji, but also the colleague from OECD, we also are of the opinion that blended finance is indeed a very powerful tool that combines public and private capital to solve many of the world's most pressing challenges. And Luxembourg is excited to join the new Global Blended Finance Alliance. For Luxembourg, finance is at the core of our economy, and it is also a core part of our doing good in the world, tackling issues such as climate change, poverty, and inequality. We are committed to using finance to achieve the SDGs. By joining the GBFA, Luxembourg aims to work with international partners to grow these efforts and to find new opportunities for impactful investments. Luxembourg's financial sector has a lot of expertise in sustainable finance, and we are ready to share this knowledge, but also learn from others in the alliance. Our sustainable finance ecosystem is working closely with international partners, but more can be done. Before concluding, let me just recall that Luxembourg is a leading hub for sustainable investment funds in Europe. The Luxembourg Green Stock Exchange, established 10 years ago, is the world's leading dedicated platform exclusively for sustainable securities, including green bonds. This initiative supports the scaling up of climate finance, which often utilizes blended finance structures to attract investments. Earlier this year, the Luxembourg Green Stock Exchange reached a significant milestone with 1 trillion worth of green, social, sustainable, and sustainably linked bonds, or GSSS, raised to close to 2,000 sustainable debt instruments displayed on the platform. Two case studies I would like very briefly to mention here. Luxembourg has supported blended finance projects aimed at sustainable forestry and agriculture in Africa, but also in Latin America. These projects often involve partnerships with international development partners and agencies, leveraging public funds to de-risk investments and enhance impact. Additionally, other projects in renewable energy, particularly in sub-Saharan Africa, which have benefited from our support. Let me stop here. Again, on behalf of my government, I want to thank our Indonesian hosts and friends for their hard work and their successful hosting of these events here in Bali. I would also like to extend a very special thanks to our friend, a close friend of Luxembourg, Ibu Sherry Nursalim, for her, sitting right across of me, for her very long-lasting support and restless efforts in promoting and in connecting Luxembourg with the Alliance. Luxembourg is thrilled to engage with all members of the Alliance, sharing our experience and learning from others in order to amplify the positive impact of blended finance worldwide. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
Thank you so much. Canada, did you want to say something?
Thank you. I understand time is short. Thank you, Madam Special Envoy, distinguished colleagues. Really, we just want to thank the government of Indonesia for bringing us together around this very, very important issue and offer congratulations for the momentum that you are building through your leadership in establishing the Global Blended Finance Alliance. If I may, and just in terms of suggestions for the way forward, in my experience, a really important part of the blended finance approach is really integrating the perspectives of the private sector, particularly the banking sector, so that we gain a really good shared understanding of each other's needs, especially when we're pursuing the development of projects. I think in my experience, this is a key factor in helping to de-risk and to crowd in additional private investment. I'll keep it there. We're very excited to be making our commitment today and walking alongside other prospective members on this path to greater shared prosperity and well-being. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We have to vacate the room, so let me just end by thanking everybody, all our prospective members as well as partners, and of course the government of Indonesia, the team from the Ministry of Maritime Affairs and Investment, who have been working hard for the last 2 years, and Ibu Sherry Nursalim, who was mentioned, one of the initiators of the idea way back when, I guess 3 or 4 years ago, when we started talking and thinking about blended finance. And we also have Mashita here, representative from the Ministry of Finance, and Bobby, and also previously the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So government of Indonesia is fully supportive and committed to this effort, but we can't do it alone. We look forward to a collaboration, partnership, and most important, co-creating the GBFA with all of you. And I think the point made by our Canadian colleague, the private sector needs to be there from the beginning to be able to co-create the right solutions for us to scale up the needed blended finance for climate as well as for SDGs, and very much with a developing country lens, particular conditions of small island development states, and so on. So let me once again thank all of you and wish you the best. And we will be following up with each of you with more details about what, after the letter of intent has been signed, what comes next, and our next set of activities. I and others will be leading the Secretariat that will be coordinating the activities as well as the development of this organization further. So I very much look forward to working with all of you, and thank you once again for coming.
Thank you so much. Let's give a big round of applause for ourselves as well as to Her Excellency Mari Elka Pangestu, Special Envoy to the President for Climate Finance of the Republic of Indonesia for the very capable moderation. Before I conclude today's session, once more, a gentle reminder that we will be organizing a site visit to witness the unveiling of the Secretariat in the Sanur Special Economic Zone tomorrow, May 21st, and there will be transportation provided at the Westin Lobby at 3 p.m. Bali time. So please join us. There will be a ceremony, Balinese dance, poolside reception, and just being there together to commemorate. Thank you. On behalf of the Global Blended Finance Alliance, I thank you for your support and your presence in this historic moment for shared prosperity. Thank you.